All right, so hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today we're just going to be talking about my graphics card. This is the one I've had for about a month. I just thought that I might as well just kind of sit down and talk about what AMD has right now, just kind of in terms of performance, and if you guys should buy it, and just kind of compared to what NVIDIA's had. Before we get into that, less than 10% of you guys are subscribed to my channel, so if you guys do enjoy this kind of content and want to see more like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you guys do want to watch more and you end up liking this video, please hit that like button. Really helps this video get recommended to more people, and it just kind of helps grow the channel in general. So today, I just kind of want to talk about this graphics card. I think it's a really cool graphics card. It's the AMD RX 6800. This is the Asus TUF model. Super good card, super well built. I think Asus did really good this generation, especially with like all their cards. The power delivery on this thing is absolutely amazing. The build quality is super good as well. This whole thing is made out of aluminum. Even the front shroud, this whole thing is aluminum. You got a little bit of RGB accents, so the little TUF Gaming logo right here will light up RGB, as long with this little little plastic piece that you guys can kind of see right here. This will also light up. It's not crazy in terms of RGB, but I think that it's tasteful enough to where if you don't want it, it's nice that you can just disable it, and it still looks like a really nice card inside your system. And if you want it, it's not a crazy amount, but it's still something to where you guys can kind of customize the way that your system looks. Now, I can't give you guys like real performance figures because I don't have a testing bench. I'm not one of those channels yet, and I'm just gonna be kind of linking videos that I recommend for you guys to just kind of check out. If you do enjoy these ones, I'm probably gonna be linking a video from Hardware Unboxed where they take a look at this exact same model, but it's the 6800 XT. So it's just like the bigger brother to this card. It's a little bit better. It's going to give you like a little bit better FPS and have a little bit higher temperatures, just because it has a higher TDP than this particular card. But other than that, most things should be pretty similar. Now, the other cool thing with these cards is that they are super good at overclocking. That's kind of the statement with all of the AMD 6000 series cards that have just come out. And what's funny enough is that AMD actually has to put on software restrictions on these cards, because these things will overclock to where they will actually beat their next step up. So if I had no artificial limit on this card, I could probably guarantee you that this thing could get really close to the performance of a RX 6800 XT. And this thing out of the box, like I'm able to overclock this thing 200 megahertz to its max. I think it's like 250 megahertz, no problem. The core temperatures stay really nice. I think the junction temperature, which is usually the hottest that you get, it only gets up to around 75 degrees, especially on max load, and then it hits about 68 on the actual core. So with this cooler and the power efficiency of this generation, overclocking is great. I really hope that AMD will unlock those software restrictions for these cards so that we can actually get some really cool performance out of these things, because I think that the overclocking headroom on these things is just absolutely insane. Now, another thing that I think AMD did really well with in this generation, and it was probably the main reason why I bought this, is that they were not stingy on the memory. So this card actually has 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, which is a lot of really fast memory. And that's kind of the main reason why I purchased this card. So my video editors that I use, so that's HitFilm and DaVinci Resolve, those are the two ones that I use, and both of those actually use a lot of video memory whenever you're putting in some high resolution clips. So I actually record in 5K video, and it just kind of helps out with me being able to make sure that things don't get too stuttery on the timeline, and hopefully that the exporting will be a little bit quicker. And considering that the competition from NVIDIA, which is going to be the RTX 3070, only has 8 gigs, this thing kind of blows it out of the water for most people who are looking for something that's actually pretty good at things that are video memory intensive. Now, in terms of just kind of how this thing is placed within the product stack, the RTX 3070 is going to be a bit worse than this, but it is priced lower. So the RTX 3070 was supposed to be launched for $500. We don't get that pricing anymore. I'm not going to push anything towards you guys because I know the market's really bad right now, and it's kind of for people who maybe later down the line will actually be able to purchase one of these cards for a reasonable price. But with all that stuff said, the 3070 itself should be around $500, and this thing should be around $580. Now, again, the price went up like crazy with all these tariffs. I think that this card is like $810 now, last time I checked. So yeah, that's really expensive. And considering I bought this card for a bit more than I probably would have liked to, I bought this thing for $680, so that's $100 over MSRP. But all things considered, I actually think I made it out pretty well, considering this thing shot up to $810 2 weeks after I bought it. So I guess I'm kind of thankful for that. But again, this thing performs better than a 3070. And that's another reason why I think a lot of people might end up buying these Radeon GPUs. These cards do extremely well in lower resolution games, or just like in general. So like if you're playing anything at 1080p, usually these things will beat out the NVIDIA cards. And that's another reason why I bought this thing, is that I have a 1080p monitor, and it really didn't make a whole lot of sense for me to kind of splurge on a higher end NVIDIA card or something like that, just because like I don't play those games at very high resolutions, just because I like my 1080p monitor. It works fine. I don't have any problems with it, and that's kind of why I bought this card. Now, one of the things that is kind of making me a little bit mad with these cards is that AMD is almost artificially, or it's not official, but I've speculated that AMD is kind of artificially limiting the ability to use smart access memory. And for those of you guys who don't know what smart access memory is, it's a feature that AMD didn't create. It's actually just kind of a rendition of something called resizable bar. Basically what it does is it allows the CPU to have full access to all of the memory on the GPU. So instead of only having access to, I think it was like 256 megabytes, which is what it was beforehand, it now has access to all of it. And it usually provides a pretty good performance increase on a lot of different things. I know in mining particularly, I know you guys are probably gonna roll your eyes at that, but I know in mining, it does a lot for these cards. So if you're looking to buy one of these GPUs for mining, I'd probably would consider getting a 5000 series CPU, just so you get that resizable bar, because it does provide a lot better performance. But mining aside, it is just kind of free performance in most games as well. Maybe not like a lot. It's like 4 or 5% sometimes in games, which is substantial, especially if you're playing games that are really high frame rate games. So if you're playing games like CSGO and stuff like that, it helps out a good bit. But considering that is something that you can only have when you have a 5000 series CPU and a 500 series motherboard, it doesn't really make sense for a lot of people to just kind of go for that. Considering that I'm not looking to spend as much money as some people are for these new CPUs. I definitely could find one, but I don't think that they're particularly good value compared to what the older generation has and what pricing that you can get it for. Like a 3900X is a lot better value than I think a 5800X is going to be. Just considering you got a lot more cores, and I mean, sure, the single core performance of the 5800X is going to be better, but I personally like the more cores. Now, let's kind of talk about the ray tracing, since that might be a thing that a lot of you guys are interested in. Ray tracing on these cards is not great. I'm just going to come out and say that compared to that 3090 that I had a couple months ago, it's not great. So I played Cyberpunk on both of those. Now again, it's just kind of my memorization of what those performance figures were like. Now I didn't get to play Cyberpunk on this one because it doesn't support ray tracing yet for these cards. At least I don't think. I haven't played the latest patch yet, so they might have included that. But I know on Call of Duty at least that this card tanks. It absolutely tanks when you turn on any sort of ray tracing. Because, I mean, this is AMD's first implementation of ray tracing. Now, I don't think that they made these cards with the sole intent of combating NVIDIA at the ray tracing game, because I still think that AMD is a bit hesitant just to kind of go full force with it. Considering that ray tracing is still kind of a niche feature in most games. It's cool, but it's just still kind of... It's supported some places, and sometimes it just doesn't even look good. So while that might be a con for some of you guys, it also might be a pro for some of you guys. I don't know. It kind of depends on who you are out there. And then the other thing that NVIDIA actually has over these guys is DLSS. So for those of you guys who don't know what DLSS is, it's NVIDIA's AI upsampling technology that they have in their GPUs. So for example, if you want to play a game at 4K, but you want to have a lot higher frames than what 60 FPS might give you, maybe you want to hit 120 FPS at 4K. Well, you actually are able to do that with DLSS. So what DLSS would do is, instead of rendering the frame at the 4K resolution, it would actually render it at 1080p. Then it would use the AI technology that's baked onto the GPU to help upsample the resolution to 4K. So at that point, you're actually going to be able to play games at 4K, though with a little bit worse video quality, but you're going to have a lot more FPS. Now, AMD did say that they are working on something that is similar to DLSS. It's called Fidelity FX, I think. And they haven't really given a release date, and I'm really hopeful that it's going to be here in the next couple of months, because that's really what I'm praying for with these cards, that it's going to be good and it's going to be implemented in a large range of games, because as of right now, DLSS is just kind of killing it for most of the AMD cards. Now, I think that 6800 is a pretty good card, assuming that you can get it for a realistic pricing. I would not buy this thing for more than $700, right? Anything more than $700, and it has to be an AIB partner card too as well. If you get the reference model for $700, I probably wouldn't snag it, considering that those cooler qualities are a good bit worse than what these are. So if you can find like maybe this model for $700, or if you can find something else like that, again, this is assuming that the market is going to be similar to what it is at the time of recording this video. Again, I think that $700, this card is okay. I think it's a lot better at $580. Of course it is. But again, I think this card's amazing for people who just need a lot of video memory on a tighter budget. So I think the only thing that could probably compare to it is a Radeon 7. But again, Radeon 7s aren't being sold or manufactured anymore, and you'd probably have to buy one used. So again, maybe not go for that. But again, if you're really looking for something like 16 gigs of VRAM, I probably would just kind of go for this card. It has a lot of really good feature sets. AMD's drivers have been getting better. There are some problems still in some games, but I think that's probably just because they don't really have as good of a software team as NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA is about 3-4 times larger than Radeon. So they're going to have a lot better driver resources than what these guys are going to have. So I'm not really going to put that to AMD's detriment, considering I think that they did a lot better with this launch than they did with the 5700 XT. But yeah, so hopefully you guys liked the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button. And if you guys want to see more like this, make sure that subscribe button. We are going to have some new videos coming out about some gaming PCs that I'm going to be having shipped in. So a couple of companies have been kind of contacting me and said that they're going to be giving me some PCs here within these next couple of months. So if you guys are interested in that sort of thing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification button so you guys get notified when a new video goes up. I also stream every Friday, so if you guys want to come and chat and ask me any tech questions, that's also a great place for you guys to come and do it. And I also have a channel on Discord linked down below. So again, all those are great places for you guys to go and check out if you guys want to see more content and just kind of talk to people in the community. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.